Hey everyone, welcome back to Harry Potter Folklore. You've seen the title of this video. It's going to be an interesting one. We're taking a look at a what-if scenario on what would happen if Voldemort had managed to resurrect Hogwarts founder and one of the most powerful wizards of his time, Salazar Slytherin. This video opens up a whole new storyline, and I'm so excited to bring it to you today, so make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you do indeed enjoy it. So let's not hang about and get straight into it. Lord Voldemort has always pushed the boundaries of magic. He revolutionized it. He took the Horcrux and brought it to another level. He created so many spells and curses that he was unrivaled in dark magic. He even managed to achieve what Gellert Grindelwald only ever dreamed about by creating an army of Inferi that he never even used, by the way. So if he could do all that, it's possible that the art of resurrection is not out of the question, and even if it wasn't possible, this is a Harry Potter Folklore what if video, and I say it's possible, so let's continue. As a student, Tom Riddle was the heir of Slytherin himself and set upon continuing Salazar's noble work, as he called it. He wanted to embody everything that Slytherin was, until he realized, of course, he could do a lot more and set about on doing so. Part of the victory plan was to abolish all of the Hogwarts houses except Slytherin, where only pure-blooded students would be admitted. So let's assume that an additional part of his plan was to resurrect Salazar Slytherin. It would be a highly complicated and dangerous ritual which would involve Voldemort pouring part of his life force into the actual spell. This was ancient magic, extremely old dark stuff. Something Voldemort had been searching for. Now he not only has the power to take life and prolong life, he can also restore it. So the Dark Lord successfully resurrects Slytherin's spirit and places him into a rudimentary body just like the one he had, using Nagini's venom and unicorn blood. He performs a modified version of the rebirth spell, but uses the bone of Slytherin he retrieved from his grave, which took him quite some time to locate. The rebirth spell is successful and Salazar Slytherin is born again. This is going to have a profound impact on the wizarding world and change the course of history. Voldemort would likely have sought to use Slytherin's reputation and influence to further his own goals and ideology. Slytherin's views on pureblood superiority align with Voldemort's beliefs, and the former's cunning and strategic mind could have been a valuable asset to the Dark Lord. However, the wizarding community would have had a mixed reaction to this development. Some would see it as a betrayal of the values of the wizarding world, while others might view it as a way to bring Slytherin back into the fold and possibly turn him from his dark ways. This could have created division and conflict within the wizarding community, as individuals were forced to choose sides and reevaluate their own beliefs and values. In terms of the larger conflict between the forces of good and evil, Voldemort's alliance with Slytherin could have given him a significant advantage in the war. Slytherin's cunning and strategic mind, combined with Voldemort's power and influence, could have made them a formidable force to be reckoned with. However, redemption is not always easy, and Slytherin may have struggled to reconcile his past actions with his new allegiances. Don't forget, Slytherin really just wanted to protect the magical race. The wizarding community would have likely had a skeptical view of his redemption, and Salazar may have struggled to uphold their trust as he came from a completely different time period. Let's continue to look at the impact on the wizarding world, both in terms of politics and power dynamics. One of the main challenges for the wizarding world would have been the question of loyalty. Many wizards and witches may have been torn between their loyalty to Slytherin from his incredible reputation alone and their hatred for Voldemort. Some may have sought to join forces with the resurrected Slytherin, seeing him as an actual way to defeat Voldemort once and for all. Others may have been wary of Slytherin's intentions and may have seen his resurrection as a means for Voldemort to tighten his grip on the wizarding world. The Ministry of Magic are forced to take a stance on the situation, either supporting Slytherin and Voldemort or opposing them and aligning with the forces of good. This could have created further division within the wizarding community, as individuals went from deciding whom to choose sides with to actually having to make these decisions and following through. The resurrection of Slytherin would have likely shifted the balance of power in favour of Voldemort and his forces. combined with Voldemort's own power, would have made them appear undefeatable and really dangerous. The Wizarding World would have struggled to even contemplate a plan of action. However, it is important to note that resurrection is a complex and controversial issue within the Wizarding World, and the methods used to bring Slytherin back to life could have had consequences that even Voldemort and Slytherin could not have anticipated. An additional challenge for the Wizarding community would have been the question of control. Together, yes, they would have had a significant amount of control, but this would have resulted in a tightening of restrictions and limitations on those who did not fit within their definition of pure blood, and the Wizarding World would have become a much more oppressive place. The Order of the Phoenix, along with other groups fighting against Voldemort, would have been faced with a difficult task of opposing now two of the most powerful dark wizards of the age. The resurrection of Slytherin would have added further complexity, and it is very likely that things would have certainly escalated, leading to even more destruction and mass loss of life. However, it is also important to remember that the Wizarding World is a place full of surprises and unexpected events. For example, it is possible that the Death Eaters, who were once followers of Voldemort, would have now pledged their allegiance to both Voldemort and Slytherin. How would Voldemort feel about this? I don't think he'd like it all that much. This would have led to an even larger and more organised group of dark wizards, making it even more challenging for the Order of the Phoenix and other groups fighting to defeat them. Furthermore, Slytherin's return may have inspired other dark wizards to attempt to bring back other powerful dark wizards from the past, leading to an even greater number of dark forces opposing the Wizarding World and taking magic in a direction it was never meant to be taken. This could have resulted in a never-ending cycle of resurrection and defeat, with each new dark wizard that was brought back only serving to make the conflict more intense. Now, I know that's a rather far-fetched and out there look on things, but as you know, when you open a can of worms, there are consequences. It is also possible that the resurrection of Slytherin would have had an impact on the Muggle world too. The Wizarding World and the Muggle world have always been separate, but if the war between the Death Eaters and the Order escalated, it is possible that the Muggle world would have become involved as well. This could have resulted in more widespread destruction, as things would now reach new heights. Moreover, the return of Slytherin would have also impacted the magical creatures that lived in the Wizarding World. Slytherin, as we know, was known for his cunning and manipulation, and it is possible that he would have used his influence to control or manipulate magical creatures for his own purposes. This could have led to the exploitation and mistreatment of these creatures, something Voldemort was actually in control of himself originally. I don't know how he would have reacted to sharing the limelight with Slytherin or even delegating tasks to him. That's even if Slytherin would accept being given a task. Even though it's possible, highly possible, that the Death Eaters did align themselves with this new Dark Alliance, it still could have caused a rift within the ranks. While they may have initially rallied around the idea of bringing back such a powerful and influential Dark Wizard, it is possible that the reality of having Slytherin back would have been very different from what they originally imagined. Slytherin may have had his own goals and agendas that may have been in conflict with those of Voldemort and the Death Eaters. Slytherin was known for his belief in pure blood wizarding superiority. It is possible that Slytherin's resurrection would have had an impact on the educational system at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Slytherin was one of the 4 founders of Hogwarts, and his return may have led to a resurgence of his own values and beliefs in the curriculum and teachings at the school. This could have resulted in a new generation of wizards who subscribed to Slytherin's views on pure blood superiority, leading to further conflict and division with the latest Hogwarts graduates. It's also possible that Slytherin's return would have changed the way in which magic was now practiced. He was known for his innovative and unique approach to magic, and his return may have inspired a new generation of wizards to explore new and different ways of practicing the art. This could have led to a revival of long-forgotten spells and incantations, and a new era of magical exploration and discovery would now begin. In conclusion, the resurrection of Salazar Slytherin by Lord Voldemort would have had far-reaching and complex consequences for the Wizarding World. While the initial idea of bringing back such a powerful and influential Dark Wizard may have seemed appealing, it is impossible to predict exactly how the future would have played out in this alternate reality, but it is clear that the consequences of Slytherin's return would have been far-reaching and profound. There you have it, everyone. That is my take on what would happen if Salazar Slytherin was brought back to life. I know it's a crazy theoretical idea, but something that this channel was built on was all these unconventional what if scenarios. Thanks for watching, and make sure to look out for the next video.